again! Thought you ought to know.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Thought You Ought to Know podcast with myself, Liz, and
James.
I always feel like you forget your name.
I just like to give an awkward pause.
Fabulous. As you know, in this series we are talking about the female characters within the Harry Potter franchise, and today we are looking at
Petunia and Lily Evans, or Lily Potter, as most of you know her.
Exactly. And for those of you that haven't watched any of our podcasts yet or listened to them on Spotify or Anchor, I thought you were going to say something.
I was going to say, why haven't you?
Why? Why indeed? But also, we would love for you to interact with the podcast, whether that is through commenting your own answers to the questions that we're discussing in the podcast, or subscribing to the YouTube channel so you get weekly updates, or just following us on any Spotify or Anchor platforms. So, without further ado, let's get started, Jiminy.
Okay.
Right, what we talking about?
So it's the first question is as similar with Hermione. How does her, so either Petunia or Lily's character develop? Do you want to start? Who do you want? I mean, it's
well,
kind of
we're
hard.
mainly, I think, with the episodes themselves, I think we're mainly going to be talking about Petunia with some of the character development questions, because we get to see throughout seven books, how her character develops.
Lily's dead.
Where is Lily? She dead.
It's not even a spoiler.
No, from the beginning. So we do have a few Lily questions thrown in there, but it is mainly like Petunia, isn't it, really? So, James, we will start with yourself. Please tell us, how do you think Petunia Dursley's character develops throughout the series? I'll display my legs on you whilst we're talking.
She doesn't really.
Oh.
I mean...
Short but sweet.
Yeah, like none of them do in the Dursley family until the very end. And it feels... I don't know if it's forced or it's for the emotional value just to make the audience cry in the last book. Because from... being whenever he was dropped off there to as when he left, when they had to go into hiding in the end of in the Deathly Hallows, they're just not very nice. They're horrible people. They're awful people. They're the worst people. They're just unnecessarily mean to Harry. They obviously he isn't their son, but they treat him like a servant. And
treat him like a poor little house elf, don't they, really?
Yeah, Petunia's just obviously treats him like she treated her sister in that all the way through, thinks that he's a freak. Freak! But then it's at the end, you get the whole bit where it's like, oh, you didn't just lose a mother, I lost my sister. And it's like, yeah, but you never, ever cared about your sister outwardly. There's
something, isn't there, where they I read something up, and maybe you've looked at this as well, that there's an explanation as to why the Dursleys are so
it's a theory.
vicious.
It's a working theory that isn't ever been proven by J.K. Rowling. It's a great theory. It's the Horcrux theory. If none of you know, when in the Deathly Hallows, when they're wearing the locket around their necks, Ron especially, wear it for a long time. When you're in the presence of a Horcrux for a long time, you just become a very bitter and angry. What?
Poor loves. No, the actual Dursleys. It's like poor loves.
So the fact that Harry is himself a Horcrux makes it seem like, yes, if this is the case, these people have been around him for years, so they've turned into the most bitter and nasty people imaginable. So if that is true, then it's a very good theory as to why they are just unnecessarily mean and angry and bitter all the time towards Harry, especially, not towards each other, which then...
Because obviously they loved Dudley so much. I think it's an interesting one, because I thought a similar thing. They don't really develop that much. Dudley does, I think. We've got a bit more of humanity, but we're not talking about Dudley. We're talking about Petunia. So I was thinking, would you class Petunia more wicked than Vernon? Because if you think about stereotypes, like the mother stereotype. She's supposed to be really caring and really nurturing, and she clearly is that to Dudley.
Is she?
Do you not think?
She indulges in Dudley in a way that she gives him everything he wants. That's not how you raise a person.
But last year I asked for them.
She never teaches him how to be a good person. She literally just gives him everything he wants, and he's learned to just.
Is that her way of caring, though?
But is that a healthy way of caring? Is she a good mother, or is she?
Yeah.
The only reason that like they like ignore all the bullying, like.
Dudley being a bully.
Yeah, like, but then the only reason that they ever like have to basically change the way he is when he gets too fat, and he has to eat grapefruit to slim down. But it's because he's unhealthy.
So then, is it basically Petunia and Vernon are horrific parents, but they're showing the two aspects of neglect of a child, neglect of like physical needs, not giving a child a bedroom, the food that they need, the love, etc. From Harry's point of view, and then from Dudley's point of view, the neglect of lack of nutrition because they're just feeding his desire of sweets and fat food and etc. And also not giving him boundaries as well, making him a bully. So actually, they're on par with each other.
Yeah, of course they are. But going back to the question about Vernon and Petunia. I think Vernon is worse.
Do you think?
Because, I mean, Petunia has her reasoning in that ultimately, and this is eventually kind of shown, is that all along she was actually just jealous of her sister. So she lashed out calling her a freak, but she did actually want to go to Hogwarts herself.
Yeah.
So she's also envious of Harry.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think Vernon doesn't know any of this side of Petunia. So Vernon's just doing it out of pure spite, and hatred just towards Harry as a person, thinking he's a freak. Whereas Petunia's doing that, but she's jealous. So there is like a
because it's a constant reminder.
It's like
of
rational,
this world.
not rational.
I feel like Vernon. He doesn't have the same reasoning as Petunia that he wants to go to Hogwarts and stuff. I think with his anger, it's kind of like, I never wanted this, like, not foster child, like nephew. Like, he was, like, sprung on me. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw the question out there, like, which one would be worse?
I think they're both bad, but Vernon's worse because he doesn't have any sort of reasoning
behind the cruelty.
Okay, hers isn't acceptable, but hers is like jealous, and she doesn't actually. I don't think she hates the Wizarding world. It's that she never got to be a part of it and feels
left out. Yeah. Fabulous. So we made a bit of a mistake. We didn't check the old memory card, did we? So we ran out of memory. So we went for lunch. Perfect. So let's pick up where we left off, Jiminy. What is the question we're looking at right now?
So the next question is something we've already kind of touched upon.
Okay.
But it is, how did Petunia truly feel about her sister, Magic, and Harry?
Okay. I'm happy to lead with this one. I would like to compare the world of Harry Potter fantasy to a reality of like a classic what you'd see in some families, like that kind of dynamic. Imagine there is a very sort of like standard family who really, really value looking normal. There is no such thing as normal, but they want to feel normal. And so everyone plays by the rules of the parents, etc. But then there is their one child. Maybe one child that wants to, like, in their perspective, the parents' perspective, to rebel against the system. So maybe they've got loads of tattoos. Maybe they've got a bright coloured hair that's not natural. Maybe they've got loads of piercings. And the parents are just like, why are you sullying our good, normal family name? That kind of thing. I feel as though Petunia sees Harry as sullying the family name because he's different. He's a freak, as she called his mother many moons ago. So I feel as though she doesn't in a sense, has come to not like the wizarding world because she's so jealous that she didn't get to be a part of the world. So she just takes it out in anger towards Harry. Monologue complete. What do you think?
I think you've just said everything we've already covered.
No.
But yeah, I think this is a very hard question to actually answer that we haven't already said. So
maybe we've summarised it already.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, the third question, we're moving on to more about Lily, aren't we? So what is it?
In the same way that you asked in the last episode if Ron was right for Hermione, was James the right match for Lily?
So this is an interesting question. You go first.
No.
What? Okay, cool.
You can go first.
Oh, you wanted to bounce off my ideas? Okay, right. Let me read my notes.
Oh, so it's kind of said you first, so I could read my notes.
Oh. Okay, James and Lily. Lily and James. Quite funny because my sister calls me Lily, so basically we're talking about us. I see no reason why the two of them are together. As in, the two characters, not us. Because we are not given any character development at all as to how a romance blossomed out of James being an absolute turnip, a nasty bully, and then Lily defending her best friend from said bully. So I feel like this is a fan fiction waiting to happen. Or maybe that it has happened. James is like, no, not another fan fiction, Liz. But I feel like if you want to root for James and Lily, which I don't know if I want to.
Nobody's rooting for them.
Really?
The side characters, they're not involved in the story, really. They're not.
I know, but
they're not imperative to the plot in any way.
Well, they are. Without them, the chosen one would not survive.
Okay, yeah, but they got killed off because they haven't got much of a reason to be in the.
I've got an itchy nose. No. I would like to say, if they were a romance, I think it would be a very successful romance, like development, if a really good writer were to create it. It's a classic enemies to lovers trope. There we go. And I think it would be very popular. But I'm not rooting for them as a couple from what we were given, because he just seems nasty. Do you know what would be interesting? Can you imagine? I feel like maybe Lily would be more suited to Lupin, both smart and intelligent. Lupin's always been quite considerate. Sirius is a bit of a lad. That could be interesting. So I'm not really vibing Lily and James. Obviously, the romance we need to talk about is Severus and Lily. But first of all, what are your thoughts on Lily and James?
No, I kind of agree that obviously, yeah, we don't really see much from James, only when he's like an adult
and he looks very old for like a 24-year-old that he's supposed to be.
Yeah, the casting was a weird choice. But yeah, no, so we only really get that like snippet of information about how he was at school through the eyes of Sirius, where obviously he's a bully.
Yeah.
And we find that, but he is also he's maybe very charming.
Yeah.
He's going to be very
Well, he's a seeker, isn't he?
He's very much Harry,
but nasty.
More narcissistical, maybe.
Yeah, because obviously, did he come from a pureblood family? Maybe we need to look that up.
Yes.
I feel like he's either half blood or pure blood.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very egotistical, and then but they can be very charming, which is I think the reason as to why Lily
went for him.
Goes for him. But again, I don't think they developed their characters enough for you to have this whole debate, because otherwise it doesn't feel very realistic, really.
But the you think about like one of the main quotes of the entire franchise, always, with Severus and Lily. So I feel as though, obviously Severus, you get the redemptive arc for his character, in the last film. And I don't know about you guys, I don't know about yourself, James, but every time like I watch that bit in the film where he sees Lily dead on the floor and it's just like slow motion, like collapses against the wall, like I just get like shivers. It's just like, and I cry.
It's very sad, but it's sad. It's not because they would have been good together. It's
Do you not think?
Because he never has had and never will then have the chance to
be with her.
But they were never going to be. It's the same.
Why not? Because he's a Death Eater.
Yeah,
would he have been a Death Eater?
Probably. He was already a bit emo, living in a tree in that flashback scene. I don't really get that.
He was
in a tree.
Living in a tree, Death Eater.
No, but
of
he's
course.
a bit of a freak.
Yeah.
Always a bit of a loner, bit of a sad case. So he would always want to find that sense of belonging. And he gets that from Voldemort, like trying to feel like a part of something. He's a part of the Death Eaters for a cause, whether or not it's a good cause isn't.
Because people always forget about this. People always think that Severus is just Dumbledore's stooge, and he's spying on Voldemort. He wasn't always spying on Voldemort. The reason why he was able to become like a little mini spy is because he was a legitimate Death Eater at one point.
We never really get to know what he did, though, which would have been interesting.
Yeah.
This isn't a question.
I know, yeah.
But yeah.
So the answer is really we don't get to know enough about the two characters, so we don't really
any
root
of the
for them.
older characters really. Like,
so if you can send me any fan fiction my way, please do.
Please don't.
Right, number 4.
Yeah. So again, this is kind of hard because both Petunia and Lily don't have the biggest roles throughout. They're in it, but.
What's the question?
It's your favourite quotes from either or, either.
Right. So, me or you? Me or you?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I like this quote, not because in terms of Petunia, she's never going to be anyone's favourite character, is she? No offence, love. But I think that this quote gives you a really good insight to her character. So this is in Order of the Phoenix, and to my knowledge, she is talking about the wizarding world. So, she says, as if we're interested in their sordid affairs, sniffed Aunt Petunia, who had followed the case obsessively in every magazine she could lay her bony hands on. So, it's the kind of like two-faced, not like...
no, it's not about.
Is it not about that?
It's not about the wizarding world.
Oh, poo, what's it about?
It's just about some sort of celebrity scandal thing, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well...
But it is still very indicative of her character.
Just a shallow little... And also Two-Face in terms of, like, she doesn't want to let on, actually. She's obsessed with sad things.
Yeah, because it's all the way through, she's a very nosy person. So as if we'd be interested in her sort of affair when that's all,
she's there like,
all she does.
like looking over the fence.
Yeah.
So that is one of mine, just because I think it... Now that I know what it is about as well, it still gives insight to her character.
I only actually know that because I listened to the audiobook the other day. It's like in the first couple of chapters.
Proof to you again that James
I know more
is...
knowledge.
Yeah.
I know more knowledge, or I have more knowledge.
I know more knowledge.
It kind of works, I don't know. Yeah. I'll do one. So it's 2 quotes. It's "You're a witch," whispered Snape. She looked affronted. That's not a very nice thing to say to somebody.
Is that for Lily?
That's from Lily, yeah. Just because it's quite funny, innocent. Because obviously, a witch can be a bad thing if you call somebody a witch.
No, it's only a good thing. The etymology of it means wise one.
But sometimes there's bad witches in like
Wicked Witch of the West.
in fiction. So
yeah,
obviously that's what Lily was thinking. It's just a funny little line.
Yeah, I like that. And then, I mean, I've just got Petunia again, which is obviously the classic redemptive arc quote that we've already spoken about. I'm guessing you've got this as well. So in the Deathly Hallows, when she's leaving, saying goodbye to Harry, really, she says, "You didn't just lose a mother that night in Godric's Hollow, you know. I lost a sister." It's the only time we sort of hear her talk about missing Lily.
Yeah, and then there is a bit when in that like same bit of story when they're going out to the car before they set off, and Dudley gives his little redemption. Just before she gets in the car, she turns to say something to Harry, but then she doesn't ever end up doing it.
What's she gonna say?
And it's like, is she gonna wish him good luck or like stay safe or something?
Or maybe she'll just be like,
motherly words, but then obviously just can never reach it.
Here's the keys to the house. Give you the house. Who knows? Don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any quotes for Lily because I wanted to focus more on Petunia.
I have one more, and it's the it's probably her most infamous one from the films when it was like.
When she said, "You're loved."
Oh, well, it was the. Oh no, it was the.
You're so loved.
It's not that one.
No.
It's the "We Never Left."
Oh, that one! Oh, I cry at that every time. Actually, yeah, that's another good one, isn't it?
Because obviously, it's a comment on how loved ones stay with you even after they die. It's just.
Yeah,
it's
that hits the feels, doesn't it?
Stay with you after death, metaphorically so, but then in the Harry Potter world, physically so, or spiritually so.
It's emotional. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we've reached the final question.
The final question is: what do we expect to happen after the events of the book / film?
I've got my first note is Lily's still dead.
Oh God.
I mean, she's not doing anything after the events of the book.
Unless the resurrection stone comes to play again. You never know. I think, I've let you do the research on this to sort of see if she crops up in Harry's life again. I do think that Harry and Petunia would stay in touch loosely.
Christmas cards. That's what they say.
Oh, is that what you said? Yeah.
On Christmas card terms.
Yeah.
Or like birthday card maybe.
Just to sort of let them know, like, I still understand you exist, but don't come visit me.
Although apparently they do.
Really?
They have done. And I think if this also works into the Horcrux theory, do they become
nicer?
less Dursley-ish? Because Harry obviously then moves away.
Yeah. Or they just get removed from it. And also his Horcrux has gone. So that part of him has died anyway. So if he is in their presence anymore, it should hopefully be more splendid than the last sort of 18 years, poor loves. Yeah. Indeed, yes. So Christmas card terms. I reckon Dudley is maybe kind of obsessed with Harry. Like.
Maybe. He has kids. Dudley.
Really?
I'll point out here before I go on to my next point that even though we are massive Harry Potter nerds, we haven't actually seen The Cursed Child.
I've read the script.
Obviously not enough,
many years ago.
Because you're missing the imperative point to this next bit. At some point before 2020, Petunia dies.
How old would she have been though?
That depends. You never really get an age, do you? So.
No.
She was a grandmother for a bit, but then before 2020, she'd have been, I don't know, 50s, 60s. It doesn't give an actual reason.
Oh, still young though, isn't she?
It doesn't give an actual reason. But then, in the story, Dudley he goes to Petunia's things after she dies, and she has the blanket that Harry was wrapped in when he was first given there. She keeps it with her.
Why is she such a cactus? Why does she not show this love? He clearly means something to her, as did Lily. What's the Paul of gaining from being nasty all her life in front of them?
It could just be the Horcrux thing.
I think it's a legitimate thing, isn't it?
Could be. Yeah, because she keeps the cloth.
She keeps the blanket for goodness sake.
So obviously he does mean something, and like, why would you
you
ever keep that if you didn't have some sort of good feeling?
Because did that blanket come from the house, or did it just come from Hagrid?
I don't actually know.
Who knows? Because that would be interesting to know.
That's in Cursed Child. I probably should have put a spoiler warning there.
Yeah. Spoiler. Yeah. So that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that with me, James.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
So actually, after the events, they're both dead.
Oh, Lily and Petunia. I thought you meant like Harry's going to pop it as well. I was like, blimmin' heck. Yeah. But honestly, wow. That is the end of that. for their lives and for this 3rd episode. Thank you. Yeah, dramatic.
That was very abrupt ending as well. You got somewhere to be?
Yeah. No, lovies, no. We're staying in today. It's cold. Thank you so much for either listening or watching our 2nd episode of the series, where we have spoken about Lily Evans / Potter and Petunia Evans / Dursley. If you also enjoyed this episode, please comment with your own answers and fan fictions for us to have a little look at as well. And subscribe to the YouTube channel Liz's Live if you're wanting to access Monday Lush content along with our Friday Potter podcasts. Can we just share that the last 2 Harry Potter podcasts haven't been on Friday, but they will be commencing, just because James has got a very busy life, don't you know, and he's not been able to upload them on the dedicated day.
I edit and process them all, and sometimes I get delayed.
So
with work and things.
Apologies for that. But you've still been able to have content twice a week from us. So yeah, that is the end of that. And stay fabulous. Bon voyage.
Thought you ought to know.